You ever hear a knock on your door in the middle of the night? Maybe it's just a neighbor, a drunk friend, a package mix-up. But what if it's not? What if it's always the same knock at the same time every single night? And what if no one is ever there? This isn't a ghost story I read online or heard from a friend. This happened to me, and I swear to you, every word you're about to hear is real. I wish it wasn't, because the knocking didn't stop until I knocked back. It started the week I moved into my new apartment, a one-bedroom, second-floor unit in a quiet old building on the outskirts of town, the kind of place where the walls are paper-thin, the plumbing groans when you shower, and the hallway light flickers just enough to make you feel watched. But the rent was cheap, and I needed out of my old place, fast. The landlord, Mr. Creeley, was an older man with thick glasses and a voice like sandpaper. He handed me the keys with a dry smile and said just one thing: "Don't answer the door after 3. I laughed awkwardly, thought it was a joke. He didn't. I asked him what he meant. He just waved it off, said the last tenant worked night shifts and got spooked easy. Whatever that meant. I didn't press him. I should have. The first night was uneventful. I unpacked, set up my mattress on the floor, plugged in my laptop, and tried to enjoy the silence. The place was cold. Not freezing, but bone cold. Like something was always standing just out of reach, breathing on the back of your neck. But I chalked that up to nerves. New place, new energy, my brain playing tricks on me. Then came the second night. At exactly 3 a.m., I woke up to a knock. 3 sharp raps on my front door. Knock, knock, knock. Not pounding, not loud, but deliberate, rhythmic, like whoever or whatever was behind. It had all the time in the world. I sat up in bed, heart hammering. I hadn't been dreaming. I was sure of that. The room was dead silent. I reached for my phone. 3 a.m. exactly. My building had 4 units. Mine was the only one on the second floor. The others were empty, still under renovation according to the landlord, which meant no neighbors. I waited. Nothing. I got up slowly, tiptoed to the door, and looked through the peephole. Nobody. I opened the door, just a crack. The hallway was still. Quiet. The same flickering light above. No footsteps, no distant voices, just stillness. I closed the door, locked it, and told myself it must have been something else. A pipe, a settling noise, maybe even a dream after all. But the next night, it happened again. Knock, knock, knock. 3 sharp knocks. Exactly 3 a.m. This time I didn't get up. I just lay there, frozen in bed, eyes wide open, listening to the silence stretch out after those 3 knocks. My body felt heavy, like something was pressing down on me. Not sleep paralysis. I've had that before. This was different. This was intentional. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. On the 4th night, I was ready. I stayed up, lights on, facing the door, phone in hand, ready to record it. Part of me still thought this was some prank, maybe the landlord testing me, or a squatter in the building messing around. 58 a.m. My heart was already racing. I held my breath. 2:59. Silence. A.m. knock, knock, knock. I jumped, phone shaking in my hand. This time, the knock sounded closer, like they came from just inches beyond the door. And even stranger, my recording didn't catch them. I rewound it 5 times. The video showed me sitting there, flinching. But no sound. I bolted out of the chair and looked through the peephole again. Still, nothing. Just the dim hallway, the buzzing light. But something felt different now. The air was heavier, thicker, like a storm was coming. I swear I could hear a faint whisper, but not from the hallway. It was coming from behind me. I turned. Nothing. I slept with the lights on again that night. When I closed my eyes, I saw the door. When I opened them, I expected it to swing wide on its own. It didn't, but the knocking came again the next night, and the next, and the next. By the 7th night, I was a wreck, sleep-deprived, paranoid. I kept seeing movement in the corners of my vision. Cold spots followed me through the apartment. My lights flickered sometimes, especially near the front door. The door I no longer approached. I didn't even dare look at it after dark. Still, every night, like clockwork, knock, knock, knock. 3 a.m. Exactly. It had become a ritual, a curse. I decided to talk to Mr. Creeley, the landlord, again. This time, I wouldn't let him wave it off. He lived on the ground floor, in a cluttered unit that smelled like old coffee and wood glue. When I knocked on his door at noon the next day, it took him a full minute to answer. When he saw me, he frowned like he knew exactly why I was there. "You heard it too, didn't you?" he muttered before I even spoke. I didn't reply. I didn't have to. He motioned for me to come in. The apartment was filled with dust and boxes, old tenant files stacked in crates, faded photographs. I spotted a file labeled Unit 2B, Carter. I pointed at it. "Who is Carter?" I asked. He sighed and rubbed the bridge of his nose. "Girl in her 20s. Moved in last year. She was normal at first, but after about a month she stopped answering my calls. Rent fell behind. Then she left me a note, said she couldn't sleep, that it wouldn't let her. She moved out overnight." He paused. "She left a note inside the wall." I blinked. "Inside the wall?" He nodded. "Yeah. Said she didn't want it to find it." Chills ran up my spine. "What do you mean it?" He didn't answer. Instead, he handed me the key to the maintenance closet upstairs. "There's a panel behind your water heater. Look there. You'll find the note." I didn't want to. Every instinct told me to leave it alone. But curiosity and fear got the better of me. That evening, before nightfall, I opened the closet next to my kitchen and moved the water heater. Sure enough, there was a loose wooden panel. Behind it, a small, hollow space. Dusty. Dark. Inside, a folded piece of yellow paper, brittle with age. On it, scrawled in frantic handwriting, "If you're reading this, it's too late. It knocks every night at 3. Do not open the door. Do not speak. To it, and whatever you do, never knock back." Carter stared at the note for a long time. My hands were shaking. My stomach turned to ice. I put the panel back and locked the closet. That night I sat on my couch, every light on, waiting for 3 a.m. like a man counting down to his own death. 59. The air turned cold. a.m. Knock, 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 only this. Time. It didn't stop after 3. Knock, 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 knock. 6 knocks. Then 9. Faster. Harder. Like fists. Like rage. My door shook in its frame. The floor vibrated. It felt like the whole building was groaning with it. Then silence. I couldn't breathe. I sat there frozen for minutes. Hours. Time stopped meaning anything. Eventually, dawn came, and with it, one chilling realization. It was getting stronger. The next 2 nights were worse. The knocking changed. It wasn't just a repetitive beat anymore. It was violent, desperate, angry. Bang, bang, bang. It shook at pictures off the walls. I stopped trying to sleep entirely. Every time 3 a.m. hit, it came. But on the 9th night it did something I wasn't ready for. It spoke. It started just after the usual knocks. I was lying in bed, blanket pulled over my head like a child, my phone clutched in both hands. And then, through the door, I heard, "Let me in." A whisper, but clear, male, cold and unnatural, like it was being dragged through water and static. Sat bolt upright. "Let me in, please. I'm cold. I'm hurt." The voice sounded familiar, like someone I used to know, like an old friend I couldn't quite place, but that wasn't the worst part. It said my name. Your name. Please, open the door. I need help. I nearly vomited right there. My full name, my real name, not one I ever used online or in public. How did it know? I didn't answer. I didn't move, just sat there with tears in my eyes, praying it would go away. But then came the scratching. Scratch. 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 Long fingernail-like claws against the door, like it was tracing the shape of it, like it was memorizing the barrier between us. That scratching went on for hours, until the sun started to rise, and then, like every other night, it vanished. I called my friend Michael that morning. I needed someone, anyone, to come over. Michael's the kind of guy who doesn't believe in ghosts, calls every horror movie stupid. But when I told him what was happening, something in my voice must have cracked through his skepticism. He showed up with a baseball bat and a GoPro, said we'd catch the creep in the act. He even laughed when I told him about the note behind the wall. We set up the camera pointing straight at the door. He stayed over that night drinking soda, talking trash, watching bad movies to keep in the energy light. 59 a.m. We both went quiet. The camera blinked. The battery dropped from 80% to 0 in a second. Oh, que c'était a.m. Bang, bang, bang. Michael stood up, slowly. Eyes wide, the bat trembled in his hand. Then it spoke again. Michael, you shouldn't be here. Michael dropped the bat. How the F does it know my name? Told you, I whispered. It always knows. Let me in, boys. I just want to talk. The voice came from inside the apartment. We turned, looked toward the bathroom. The light inside was on. I know we turned it off. The door was slightly ajar. Then it slammed shut. Slam! Michael screamed. I screamed louder. We didn't sleep that night. We sat in the car outside until morning. He never came back after that. Wouldn't answer my calls. Moved out of state 2 weeks later. And me? I stayed. I don't know why. Maybe I was paralyzed by fear. Maybe I thought I could beat it. Or maybe some part of me was already broken, and the thing behind the door knew it. I don't know what finally pushed me over the edge. Maybe it was the sleeplessness, the isolation, the way my apartment seemed to decay a little more each day. Paint peeling on the walls, water turning murky, mirrors fogging even without heat. Maybe it was the voice, and how it changed. Because after Michael left, it started begging. Please, just one knock, just one. Let me know you hear me. I'm so lonely, so cold. Just knock once and I'll go away. Over and over, night after night, 3 a.m. on the dot, followed by whispering, scratching, crying. One night, I swear I heard it pacing the hall, dragging something behind it, something wet. But then came the laughter. Low, raspy, cruel. You're not strong like the last one. She never knocked. Carter, the tenant before me. But you're curious, aren't you? The worst part? It was right. I was curious, desperate, angry, and on the 21st night, the 21st knock, I snapped, bang, bang, bang. It came, right, on schedule. I stood from the couch, marched to the door, and with my hand trembling, I raised my knuckles to the wood, and I knocked back. Once. Just once. A hollow echo in the hallway. The silence that followed was absolute. No breathing, no scratching, no whispering, just dead, unnatural quiet. Then, a creak from above. I looked up. The ceiling directly above my door, the attic crawlspace, groaned. I backed away. Thump. Something dropped onto the floor above me. Then footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Coming from inside the attic. crossing toward the hatch in my ceiling. I don't have access to that space. No one does. The landlord said it was sealed shut. But that night I watched as the attic door creaked open, just an inch, and something reached down. A hand, black, thin, with elongated fingers. Its skin was stretched tight over bone, like it had been buried for decades and was still rotting. It didn't reach for me. It dropped something, a photograph. It floated to the floor face down. I didn't want to touch it, but I had to know. Picked it up. It was a photo of me, asleep, in bed, from the angle of the ceiling. The time stamp, 3 doors, a.m. I threw the photo across the room, grabbed my keys, and ran out the door. I drove for hours, slept in a rest stop bathroom. When I came back the next day, the apartment was quiet. Still, I checked the attic hatch. It was sealed again. Dust, undisturbed. The photo was gone. But the knocks, they came back the next night, and this time they didn't wait until 3 went. It started knocking earlier now. 2:45 a.m. Then 2:30. By the end of the month, it was knocking every hour, sometimes twice in one night. The worst was when it stopped knocking altogether, because silence meant it was already inside. I'd wake up at random times to find my front door open just an inch, like it had slipped away quietly after watching me sleep. I began stacking chairs and heavy boxes in front of it, but somehow they'd be moved by morning. Neatly. No noise. It wasn't, until I installed a second deadbolt, that it started showing itself. It began small. Shadows crossing the hallway mirror. My bedroom door creaking open by itself. My fridge light flickering with no one near it. But then I saw it. 3 weeks ago. I'd fallen asleep on the couch. Dreamless sleep. Deep and empty. I woke up choking, air heavy, the stench of rot in my nose. And there it was, standing in the kitchen doorway. Tall. Humanoid, but wrong in every possible way. Its head scraped the top of the frame, tilted at an unnatural angle like its neck had been broken and never set right. The skin was pale, almost translucent, stretched tight over something that pulsed beneath. No lips, just teeth, endless rows of them, like they had grown over where a mouth should have been. It didn't move, just stood there, watching me with no eyes. I couldn't move. I couldn't even scream. Then it opened its mouth, and I saw something. Not organs. Not a tongue. A door. There was a literal door inside its throat, made of old wood, rotting and nailed shut. Scratched up. Something was locked inside of it, and it wanted out. I passed out cold, woke up the next morning with every light off, my phone missing, and scratches on my bedroom ceiling like something had been hanging above me while I slept. After that night, I decided to find out everything I could. I broke into the building records, called past tenants, even visited the town library to check old blueprints. I was desperate. I had to know what this place was hiding, and that's when I found it. The original layout showed 5 apartments, but the current building only has 4. There was a hidden 5th unit, sealed off behind the wall across from my door. I confirmed it the next night. I tapped along the hallway at 2 a.m. hollow. Hollow, solid, hollow, thud. A spot by the stairwell sounded off, like it was boarded up. I tore at the wallpaper, uncovered an old frame sealed with rusted nails. It reeked, like old blood and mold. I brought a crowbar, pried it open. Behind it was a door, faded black, carved with 3 marks, like claw scratches burned into the wood. There was no handle, just a tiny slit, like it wanted me to knock. I ran. I shouldn't have opened it. I never should have found it. That night, it didn't knock. It screamed, a guttural, inhuman sound that shook the whole building, a voice without breath. My windows cracked. My ears rang for hours. The next morning, someone had scratched a message into my kitchen wall. You found me. And below it, now knock again. It's been a month. I haven't slept. I haven't eaten more than a few bites a day. Every mirror in my apartment is cracked. My phone turns off at exactly 3 a.m., no matter how charged it is. The door behind. The wall calls to me now. Every night. Whispers. Footsteps. Breathing. The other tenants, those who moved in downstairs, have already left. One of them broke her lease after waking up to find the word knock carved into her ceiling above her bed. Last night, I woke up to find a single bloody fingerprint on the inside of my eyelid. I don't even know how I'm alive. But I know what it wants. I know what I have to do. I'm going back tonight. At 3 a.m., I'm going to knock 3 times, and I'll let you know what's behind that door. If I survive, if I'm still me. Ending note. That was the last message I received from him. He sent it in a voice memo to our old group chat. That was 2 weeks ago. The police found his apartment empty. No sign of forced entry. The wall he described? It was sealed. No door, no fifth unit, no hidden room. But the neighbor across the hall? She recently moved in. Says she keeps waking up at 3 a.m. to 3 soft knocks at her door. And last night she asked me something that chilled me to the bone. Do you know someone named Carter? After that night, I decided to find out everything I could. I broke into the building records, called past tenants, even visited the town library to check old blueprints. I was desperate. I had to know what this place was hiding, and that's when I found it. The original layout showed 5 apartments, but the current building only has 4. There was a hidden 5th unit, sealed off behind the wall across from my door. I confirmed it the next night. I tapped along the hallway at 2 a.m. hollow. Hollow, solid, hollow, thud. A spot by the stairwell sounded off, like it was boarded up. I tore at the wallpaper, uncovered an old frame sealed with rusted nails. It reeked, like old blood and mold. I brought a crowbar, pried it open. Behind it was a door, faded black, carved with 3 marks, like claw scratches burned into the wood. There was no handle, just a tiny slit, like it wanted me to knock. I ran. I shouldn't have opened it. I never should have found it. That night, it didn't knock. It screamed, a guttural, inhuman sound that shook the whole building, a voice without breath. My windows cracked. My ears rang for hours. The next morning, someone had scratched a message into my kitchen wall. You found me. And below it, now knock again. It's been a month. I haven't slept. I haven't eaten more than a few bites a day. Every mirror in my apartment is cracked. My phone turns off at exactly 3 a.m., no matter how charged it is. The door behind. The wall calls to me now. Every night. Whispers. Footsteps. Breathing. The other tenants, those who moved in downstairs, have already left. One of them broke her lease after waking up to find the word knock carved into her ceiling above her bed. Last night, I woke up to find a single bloody fingerprint on the inside of my eyelid. I don't even know how I'm alive. But I know what it wants. I know what I have to do. I'm going back tonight. At 3 a.m., I'm going to knock 3 times, and I'll let you know what's behind that door. If I survive, if I'm still me. Ending note. That was the last message I received from him. He sent it in a voice memo to our old group chat. That was 2 weeks ago. The police found his apartment empty. No sign of forced entry. The wall he described? It was sealed. No door, no 5th unit, no hidden room. But the neighbor across the hall? She recently moved in. Says she keeps waking up at 3 a.m. to 3 soft knocks at her door. And last night she asked me something that chilled me to the bone. Do you know someone named Carter?